You think being kind makes people respect you, but what if that's exactly why certain people chose you in the first place? Not randomly, not accidentally, but because your behavior told them something that you're safe to use. Psychology research shows something most people don't want to admit. The kinder you are without boundaries, the easier you are to control. Not because kindness is weak, but because it reveals patterns. Patterns that manipulators, narcissists, and toxic people are trained to spot. And here's the part that should bother you. You're probably doing several of these right now, and none of them feel like weakness while you're doing them. That's what makes them dangerous. The first thing that quietly turns you into a target is over-explaining your decisions. Pay attention to what you do when you say no. Most people don't just say no, they justify it. I'd love to help, but I'm busy. I can't right now because I have this thing. I'm sorry, I just have a lot going on. Listen to how that sounds. You're not making a decision. You're asking for permission. And once people realize you'll explain yourself, they stop respecting your decisions and start negotiating with them. Every reason you give becomes something they can push against. Oh, it'll only take 5 minutes. You can do it later. Come on, it's not a big deal. You think you're being polite, but what you're actually doing is opening the door for pressure. Because at a deeper level, over-explaining signals something critical. It signals that you don't fully trust your own authority. And people can feel that. Toxic people especially. They don't need you to say it out loud. They just need to see that your decisions can be moved. And once they see that, they will test it again and again and again. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think they're being kind, but what they're really doing is training people not to take their no seriously. The second thing that makes you a target is becoming everyone's emotional dumping ground. You know exactly what this looks like. You're the person people go to when they need to vent, to complain, to unload everything that's going wrong in their life. And you sit there listening, absorbing, helping, thinking you're being supportive. But here's what's actually happening. Most people don't want solutions. They want relief. And you've become the place they go to release pressure. You think you're helping them, but to them, you're just someone who absorbs their emotional weight. So they don't have to carry it themselves. And over time, something shifts. They stop seeing you as a person and start seeing you as a function, someone they use. And this is the part no one tells you. Toxic people are drawn to emotional availability without boundaries because it makes their life easier. They don't have to regulate themselves when they have you to dump everything onto. And the more you accept it, the more it becomes expected. And the moment you stop, that's when you see the real reaction. Not appreciation, resistance. Because you change the role they assign to you. The third thing that turns kindness into a liability is giving to people who never give back. Money, time, effort. You know these people, they always need something. Always have a reason, always have an emergency. And somehow, you're always the one who shows up. But when you need something, they disappear. Or suddenly become unavailable or forget. And here's the shift most people don't see. This isn't just about being taken advantage of. This is about how you're being categorized. Because when you give without any expectation of balance, you stop being seen as an equal. You become a resource. And once someone sees you as a resource, they don't feel guilty using you. They feel entitled to it. And the moment you stop giving, that's when everything becomes clear. That's when you find out if the relationship was real or just convenient. At this point, you might be thinking, I'm just trying to be a good person. And that's exactly why this works on you. And if you're starting to recognize some of these patterns, this isn't the first time this has shown up in your life. Because this doesn't just happen once, it becomes a pattern where certain people keep showing up and the outcome always feels the same. If you've ever felt like you're the one giving more, the one being overlooked, or the one slowly losing respect in relationships, that's not random. There are specific behaviors that quietly lower your position over time. And I broke that down in another video where I show the exact signs that someone is starting to replace you without you even realizing it. Because most of the time, you don't notice it when it starts. The fourth thing that quietly lowers your status is apologizing for existing. Pay attention to how often you say sorry. Sorry to bother you. Sorry for asking. Sorry for taking your time. You apologize for your needs, your opinions, your presence, and it seems harmless. But every unnecessary apology sends a signal. It tells people that you believe on some level that you're an inconvenience. And once that belief is visible, people adjust how they treat you. Because if you don't see your value, then they won't either. Every apology teaches people something about you. And what you're teaching them is that you come second, and that's where it becomes dangerous. Because manipulative people are highly sensitive to this. They look for people who already minimize themselves. Because those people are easier to control and less likely to push back. The fifth thing that makes you a target is seeking validation from people who haven't earned your respect. You change how you speak depending on who's around. You adjust your opinions, you laugh at things you don't find funny, you try to fit, to be accepted, to be liked. But here's what's really happening. You're not being yourself. You're performing a version of yourself that you think will get approval. And once someone senses that, they realize something important. Your behavior can be controlled through approval and rejection, and that's power. Because once someone knows you need validation, they don't have to respect you anymore. They just have to decide when to give it and when to take it away. And you'll adjust yourself accordingly without even realizing it. So here's what happens when you stop doing these things. At first, people will notice. They'll question you, push you. Some will even get uncomfortable because you're no longer behaving the way they expect. You're not over-explaining. You're not absorbing everything. You're not giving endlessly. You're not apologizing for existing. You're not chasing approval. And to them, that feels like a loss. Because it is. They're losing access. And some people won't like that. They'll say, you've changed, that you're different, that you're selfish. But what they really mean is, you're no longer easy to use, and that's the shift. Because the problem was never your kindness. It was the lack of boundaries around it. People don't test kindness. They test how far it goes. And once they realize there's no limit, there's no reason to respect it. Respect doesn't come from what you give. It comes from what you protect. And if you don't protect your time, your energy, your decisions, someone else will decide how to use them. So stop being everyone's solution and start being your own priority. Because the moment you do, everything changes. And once you start seeing this clearly, you can't unsee it. You'll start noticing how people test you, how they push small boundaries first before anything obvious happens. And if you don't catch it early, that's when it becomes a pattern. That's when respect slowly disappears. That's when you start feeling like something is off, but you can't explain why. That's exactly why I made a series of videos breaking this down from different angles. One shows you the silent signs people lose respect for you. Another breaks down how toxic people identify you early. And another reveals the subtle behaviors that quietly lower your status over time. So if this hit a little too close, don't stop here. Watch the next video, because once you understand the pattern, you'll start catching it in real time. And that's when everything changes.